all part of it, innit? Sometimes sleepy, sometimes you're asleep. That's what I'm all about.
What Jack would say.
That's what Jack would burble. Hopefully we'll hear from him later. But first off, cold opening, we are back in what probably is the 1960s, I imagine, because Maude is a wee child and she has gone to a Easter party with her cousin Madge Tinker Turnbull, who is no longer in her vow of silence. And she has told Maude that Maude should smash up all the chocolate eggs because Madge has accidentally dropped her mum's favourite ring into one of them. Would you like to be Madge or Maude? Rex?
Maude.
Mercia. Okay.
Maude, I'll be Rex and Mercia as well.
You'll be Rex and Mercia?
No, too many, just Rex.
Alright, you're Rex. You're Maude. I'm Madge Tinker Turnbull. Can you just shut that door now? Maude, what do you think of this beautiful Easter party?
It's wonderful. Who are you?
I'm your cousin Madge Tinker Turnbull. What, are you blind or something as well as stupid and so?
Oh, you got to.
What's my normal voice?
Let's have like Wednesday Addams voice.
Oh, like this?
Yeah.
Like this? Oh, and action.
Oh, hello, Maude. How are you today?
Hello, Madge.
How are you enjoying this beautiful Easter party?
Too hot.
It's only 7 degrees Celsius.
That's 7 too high.
I'm wearing a cardigan. It's a beautiful cardigan that my mummy bought for me because she loves me. Does your mummy love? Did she buy you a cardigan?
Yeah, she did actually.
I see your cardigan's a little bit threadbare.
This isn't the new one. I'm wearing it, the old one.
By the way, do you see all those beautiful chocolate eggs over there?
Oh yes, they're truly the highlight.
Got a problem, got a conundrum, a real conundrum. I borrowed one of my mom's splendid 19-karat gold rings without asking, and I accidentally dropped it inside one of those chocolate eggs, and I'm the silly Billy who's forgotten which one.
No.
I'm going to start looking in the ones that are in the back room. Why don't you start looking inside these ones?
But how am I to look inside of them?
So what you should do is you should open up the tin foil and then take this hammer and smash them. Don't worry about breaking them because we can always put them back together later. Don't worry. It's really important you do it really quickly. Bye. Bye. Here's a hammer.
So
Bye.
£8.
Bye.
This is a lint one.
Bye.
Oh well, bye. You go. I guess I have to do my cousinly duties. It's only right. So let's give it a go. Whack, smash, smash. Covered in chocolate. There's nothing in any of these. There's no ring.
Madge.
Oh, good Lord, Maudlin, what in good jolly dolly golly good schooly goo-goo's name are you doing?
There's no ring in here, and now everything's just smashed.
You
I can't
smashed
find it.
all of our chocolate eggs. My kitty giddity hand. Good Lord, what have you done, Rex? What do you say?
What have you done, Maude? Dear, what have you done, Maude? Dear, what have you done, Maude?
You're
It
Maude.
wasn't, I know. It wasn't me. It was Madge. She told me everything needed
Mummy, I told her not to be silly and look what she's done.
No, the power of Christ compels me.
Maude, it's a Magoo cast, episode 41 or 42 or something. She's not a bottom smacker. She's just learning to be more judgeful, like a regular, normal-voiced woman. She's not a forgotten woman, not by us, not now, with so many episodes under our belt. Can you see the bushes rumbling? Now, husband, walk to your death. She's the sister of the recently not seen evil twin Laurie Goodman.
Maude. It's number 47.
Good. It's a good start. Good.
Good indeed.
That Mercia, eh? What's her name? Mercia Tinker Turnbull.
Madge.
Madge, she's a rumman, isn't she? She's going to be a lot of trouble. I'm surprised we haven't seen more of her. And we know that Willard, aka the happiest man in Springfield, lives just round the corner, so it's only a matter of time, surely. But we're approaching the Space Casino.
Yeah, boys, I'm really excited. I'm going to blow hundreds of millions of dollars. All kind of blackjack, rummy, and space dominoes. Ooh, Ooh, I hope they've got space. Stuff and fluff there.
You still owe me a fiver, Erggun. You hear me?
Who are you talking to?
You, Apple.
Why did you say Erggun at the end of your sentence? Is that in case I wasn't sure who was speaking?
Yes.
Well, I am paying you no money, so shut the F down. O'Leary's, do the intro.
Hello, Goodman Morning and Twin Cities Hostage Club. Desist, one and all, from ingesting the innards of any animal, my schoolmate and ally. Brought to you by Jeff Apple Sunderland.
Yeah, that's me.
The boondocks have fallen silent. The hinterland has no more hushed noises of sheeps and peeps and bellows and snorts and scratches and hits. Jeff, what have you done?
I'm not telling you.
The air has become suffocating and iridescently ringed. Vegetation and verdant leaf and frond are eerie and weird with a Y and preternatural suspension of the mundane. Jeffrey, do we need to be concerned? All hail corporate imperialism.
That forest is going to cause us some real Season 8 problems.
I really hope not, because I'm hoping when we get back to Earth after all of this, we can have a good old fashioned Season 1 style rest. You remember in the old days when our only problem was that we were in prison for flooding an old people's home?
Yeah.
Good old days.
Play. That was the most difficult thing we had to put on, was the play. And now that feels like it would be done within the first 15 minutes of one of our adventures.
Exactly. That's no longer a season arc, thancfully.
Just
Sponsors:
a cold off.
Wigan's Dynamite Kid, WrestleMania. Two cousins from Wigan who became the world's greatest wrestling tag team.
Republican actor Vivacious.
Salmon Pink Burman, aka Thin Uncle Phil. Man, I'd have to be Uncle Phil in that one now. I'm nearly 50, Smith jokes. In fact, he told us in August that there were no plans for a Fresh Prince revival. Stuff would have to go really wrong for there to be a Fresh Prince reunion special, said Smith, guffawing.
Not just for Carlton. Republican actor Carlton from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Tony, Ian, Max, Tone, Graham, in the bushes, spying for your security. No books out plagiarists. Malice in criminal history is not accidental. It is perpetrated by secret societies that have ancient connections to other secret societies, old alliances, people who tell you they will teach you about the creation of the universe.
Makerfield Kung Fu Academy and the Lower Inch Jiu-Jitsu Junior and Seniors Academy, the real one, found near the Price Eradicator.
Exactly. Well,
So, boys, we've just about landing here at the Space Casino. Erggun, can you take us into land?
I guess I can.
Well, here you are. This is the secret I've been keeping for you all. It's a big bag of space chips for everyone. B. O'Leary, you get a bag of space chips.
oh, thank you.
And O'Leary, you get a bag of space chips.
Thank you very much, Jeff.
Erggun, you get a bag of space chips.
I have my fiver.
It's in there. Envelope, you get a bag of space chips. And Inanimate Carbon Todd Rod, you get a bag of space chips.
I think that's everybody.
It is everyone. So while you're looking through those chips and deciding what you're going to spend them on in the Space Casino, shall we do a auditorium?
Yeah, I kept some of the limbs from the people who exploded in the spaceship, like Natalie and Darren Scaramouche and the chimps and stuff. So I'm going to trade them in for some more chips. So I'm ahead of the game.
I ain't going to trade no chips in for body parts unless they are freshly harvested.
The freshest.
Give me a number between 1 and 3. 3, 6, 8.
1.
1, 8. Number 1, social media references. In the 23rd of October 2011, Nathan O'Leary posted following on the Facebook platform. Maud Flanders is probably the least important character in the history of television. It was liked by Katie Holgate and 8 others, and there was a single comment, also by Nathan O'Leary, that says, "Ant, get out of my face."
I think we've covered that before, to be honest.
I'd like to say that we cannot, as I said before, you cannot stand in the same river twice, so let's cover it again.
Okay, it's incorrect. Somebody obviously hacked me, hazarding a guess at Ant, probably, from the sound of that comment. And Katie Holgate is the sister of the recently deceased Natalie, so that's nice to bring her into things. That's not about Maud, though, really. She isn't, and we're learning that more and more. I never thought that, so fraudulent.
Would you go as far to say you've reversed your decision and now would describe her as the most important character in the history of television?
I stand by the fact that it was never my decision. That's what I'm standing for. But I imagine Maud's social media presence circa 2009 was mostly thanks to me.
But now she's a meme star. We've got that Maud Flanders on Instagram who's French. We've got the occasional person who makes a mucky picture of her. And then we've got us who are holding stuff down.
Yeah, and we got that cool video that Rob McLeod sent.
Yeah, exactly. Big up Space Scott McLeod.
Yes.
Welcome to the Maud Flanders Internet Museum theme park, database, and HC restaurant. The world's greatest, extraordinary and premier hot cake eatery. Just one of over 58 IMDb's around the world, and even one in space. Abandoned, currently under reconstruction after mysterious tithing pool fires. We have always been here. Find us in Worsley Mesness, next to the B&M Express car park, behind the bins, next to hard-cast execution and unscrupulous falling down water. Before we get to the content today, we've got another postcard from Into the Ether from Jacques Lestilo Derrida. Would you like to hear it?
Yes.
Would you like to read it?
Sure.
Can you do the voice?
Where am I reading from?
I beg your pardon. Hello, darling. I need no alibis. Find me in the spooky distance, or entanglement phenomenon in the wee principality where it's not all what it's cracked up to be. Ally, relative in it. I am everywhere and nowhere. A cultural perception of a whole age. But now, sigh, call me a romantic at heart, but our life in the wee principality is not what it was cracked up on me. Why does one tire of the endless beaches and the open roads? I said all this last week. Quantum Pence has developed allergy to the quantum ragweed, and the tiny crackers cannot sustain his belly. Even his wings droop. Guy Debord is organising a chain smokers tribute act for my birthday. Signed, Jacques Derrida biography.
Jacques Derrida, riding a hamster, zipping between the blades of grass. Tiny Derrida, deconstructing everything, coming to you to tell you what's what.
Jack seems a little bit down in the dumps, but here's the quote. It's a long one, so get yourself ready.
But because me and myself, as you no doubt are well aware, we are going to die, my relation and yours too, to the event of this text, which otherwise never quite makes it. Our relation is that of structurally posthumous necessity. Suppose in that case that I am not alone in my claim to know the idiomatic code, whose notion itself is already contradictory of this event. What if somewhere here or there are shares in this non-secret secret? Even so, the scene would not be changed. The accomplices, as you are once again well aware, are also bound to die.
Wow, posthumous, by the way.
What did I say? Posthumous.
Posthumous.
That Jack, eh?
He does what he wants. This is it's very easy to link this to Maud because it's got the word die in it. So we'll just start from there. What is the idiomatic code of this event?
Maud's entire existence is her idiomatic code, surely.
I'll go one further. What is idiomatic? It's been a while since I used that degree.
Representative.
I see. I don't know. She's dead. She's dead, and so is Jacques Derrida. Exactly.
Excuse me.
Oh, Jacques. What's the non-secret secret that everybody dies?
So I think Maud knows that Maud knew and action. So the thing about Maud is that she, although she did not know anything because she was a fictional constructed thing, she also knew, not just knew, but knew for sure that she was going to die because it was in a script. It was written before it happened. Then it was brought into existence and then it happened. But even if the scene were changed, all of those accomplices, ironically, Maud would never die had the scene changed, but they were bound to.
Yes. I took the very last bit I read was everybody, like Maud died, so that didn't change. But then even if that did change and Maud survived, her and everybody who survived at that situation would in turn die anyway. Like Final Destination.
Exactly. It's a bit grim, isn't it? I think Jack's having a bit of a rough time in the wee principal.
Maybe he's just been watching Final Destination. All 5 of them.
Mrs. Brown's boys interspersed with all the Final Destination series. That's enough to do anyone in, isn't it?
Yeah.
Content. Shall we go to the content?
Yes.
Why don't you give these good people an idea of what's coming up in today's content?
Yeah, Maud's still at the longest Indian wedding in the world for another half of this episode. And then Maud's, I was going to say Maud's faith will be questioned, but I imagine it's not. Maud's faith will be solidified, if anything, in the back half of this episode, and she's going to steer back towards being religious Maude for a bit, I think, which we haven't actually seen for quite a while.
It's true. There's been, considering this was her main idiom, it was the idiomatic. Maude was indeed a churchy lady. We've had nothing for several seasons of our show mentioning the good Lord, the good ship Jesus Christ. But that all changes today. So, clip 1. The two Mrs. and/or Misters Nahasapeemapetilons. A blink and you'll Maude it. Apu and Manjula are holding hands in the garden. We are still at wedding. We see Maude dutifully sitting and watching this beauty unfolds. She remains stationary as the rest of the crowd do. Springfield's elite.
Yeah, I have basically nothing to add to this. We covered every reason that she was at the wedding. It's nice to see Apu and Manjula have this moment. It's nice that Maude's witnessing this moment. She's happier here than she was at the re-wedding, the remarriage of Homer and Madge last year. She just sort of stood alone for that. And the Ganesh Homer issue got resolved pretty quickly.
What did happen? What happened in between with the Ganesh thing?
The elephant got him.
Oh, we see that happening in the next, in the third clip.
I think some of the wedding guests also take great offence to it, and I remember one of them says, "You aren't Ganesh. Ganesh is graceful," and then they all start chasing him around. I think not Maude though, because she doesn't. Imagine not only does she not take offence to this, she doesn't understand the reference. She just thinks, why is there an elephant here in the first place, and why is Homer now dressed as one? Jesus isn't an elephant.
That is the extent she's so into the Christian religion that she has no attention to any others. She feels that even knowing anything about any other religions is actually anti-Christian. Is that what you suggest?
Yeah, no, I don't think she has judgments against it. I just don't think she's ever really taken the time to figure it out. Like if she talks to Apu, she doesn't delve too far, because again, she's not going to believe what he says. So because she knows that she has the correct Christ, and so I just don't think she'd ask. He does have a little statue of Ganesh in the quickie mat on the till though, because Homer offers it a peanut at one point, and Apu says, "Please do not offer my God a peanut," which is great white comedy.
Indian man Apu.
Yes, yeah, she's still at the wedding. What else can I say?
Still there. Clip 2. A band with tabla, sitar, and those Indian horns are singing "Close to You" in Hindi? Ned and Maude are dancing in the background. I wondered if they'd ever had lessons. Formal Maude is in her jacket. She is lovingly looking at Ned. The last time we saw them dance was at the Van Houten dinner party fiasco. Does Maude like the Carpenters? What does she make of the Hindi conversation? What does she make of the Hindi version? Would she think that, oh, I didn't even notice that it wasn't in English? We see beautiful Manjula and Indian man Apu dancing. It is truly a beautiful day.
It is. This is one of my favourite non-Simpsons songs. One of my favourite times that they've used a song. I think it's nice. And that is Homer and Marge's song. So we see it again with Maude within the next, probably our next season, maybe earlier, maybe this season actually. But yeah, that's Homer and Marge's sort of designated song throughout. Again, that's something they've kept relatively consistent actually. Like they bring it up in the movie, it plays quite a lot. So I think they're using it here, and they've obviously added a Hindi twist because it's Apu. So they're just explaining to us, not very subtly, that Apu and Manjula are the Indian Homer and Marge, basically.
Would you say that holds true? That Apu is in no way the Indian Homer?
No. They're not. There's no one they're really completely similar to, because neither of them are, for all the sort of like bad things that they've got, neither of them are they've not got a lot of traits really, other than the fact that they are like Indian. He works a lot. That's basically his trait. Every sort of like all the marriage problems they've had haven't necessarily been Indian themed. That makes sense. Like they just sort of become another Springfield couple, but then obviously they throw in some tasteful jokes too. He also cheats on Manjula at some point, and they deal with that.
Really?
So, yeah, there's not a squishy lady, like one who delivers the drinks, not a big lady. But yeah, so I would say there isn't really a Kirk and Luana, probably the closest, but Apu and Manjula are considerably more self-aware. And they're both pretty intelligent and pretty just sort of hardworking and respectful to people. Manjula is certainly more respectful than Maude to the fellow townspeople.
But unfortunately, doesn't that mean that they're probably not very fun?
Yeah, that's when the comedy comes from the fact that they sound silly.
That's not good. But at least half of them have realised maybe they shouldn't do that anymore.
Yeah, there is a very small slice of time here where Manjula and Maude share screen time. It's probably the shortest Simpson screen time relationship, as Manjula's just been brought in and Maude's on the currently about 4 stops on the last train home.
Do you think they've ever had dancing lessons?
We know from the bongo that Ned can dance.
Yes.
But I don't think they've ever had. I imagine maybe they've had one lesson because they got a coupon from like Willard or something for like an anniversary gift. But I don't think they would say that they don't have the time, even though they definitely do. Maude especially.
They'd make excuses, would they? Is that what you're saying?
If she's around, if we're on about the Maude from these seasons alive, I don't know what she fills the time, but we've seen in like future flashbacks, like the 700th episode, Homer uses YouTube to help Maude deliver Todd. So if Maude has access to YouTube now, I could see her having a clean and a dance, maybe, and doing some 80s style jazz aerobic stuff.
Yoga size.
Yeah. Warm yoga.
Do you think that she realised that the cover version of Close to You was in Hindi or not?
Yeah, she's got ears and a brain.
You'd be
So I
surprised. A lot of people listen to things like that and then they don't listen. They don't realise.
I suppose it is background music, but it doesn't look like her and Ned are deep in conversation. So it looks like they're probably listening to the music. And again, it's probably a song they're quite familiar with. So, yeah, I think Maude would quite like the Turtles. I don't think she would. I don't think she'd be all about them. We obviously know that Aerosmith is her go-to.
Yes, the Turtles.
Is that the right band?
That is not the right band. The Carpenters did Close to You.
What did the Turtles do?
The Turtles.
They did that other song. That
Happy Together was the big one by the Turtles. Great song. Great Jason Donovan cover.
What I have done there is that song is also used in the Simpsons movie. So I have confused the two names of the bands.
Acceptable.
Space Cowboy.
Clip 3. In garden, zoomed out. The reception is unfolding and Homer is being shaken upside down by an elephant. Maude and Ned continue to dance, but they are just spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning. Is that some kind of new dance move?
Is it just them, or is everybody spinning?
I think everybody is just rotating.
It looks like the song has caused some kind of mass hypnosis, and they're all just in some kind of dance trance. I do like this one. If it was 2 or 3 seasons earlier, they wouldn't have put all the Homer stuff in this clip. They would have just let it be nice and let the episode end nicely. Thought they had to have sort of some. They felt like they had to shoehorn in. Homer could have still just been in like the corner getting attacked by the elephant, like turned upside down and stuff. But none of the stuff he says is particularly funny. So it's a bit of a waste. But it's nice to see the credits playing Maude out. And I don't know if this point they decided to fill. I thought they were being more sentimental about showing nice Ned and Maude moments when they had the chance. But all the couples seem to get a nice moment here, except for Kurt Van Hout.
What's Kurt doing?
He probably just hasn't been asked to come to this wedding. Borrowing somebody else's feelings.
Don't you think it would be cruel somewhat to show Ned and Maude in a series of romantic situations if they'd already decided to top Maude off?
Yeah, in a way. I think it is still too early for that to have happened. I reckon we're coming up to the time now where at the time of these being recorded, Roswell was probably like, yeah, I'm going to ask soon.
She was mulling it over.
Yeah, I'm going to hazard a guess that she asked between the season of 9 and 10 sort of break. And I think from 10 onwards, I'm going to say that they knew that maybe that they weren't going to kill more, but they knew that Roswell was probably on her way out and they were going to have to do something with those 4 or 5 ladies.
So you've told me this many times before, but when she did go, they killed off Maude, but all of the others basically just slipped into the background and just stopped talking for about 3 years. Is that right?
Vaguely, yeah. They brought in that other woman to do the Maude voice, Marcia Mitzman-Gaven.
Oh, yeah.
And she also took over the voice of Miss Hoover, but she obviously, they didn't give her Helen or Luann. And so after Maude died, Helen and Luann don't speak for I think she's only gone for 4 years, to be honest. I don't think she's gone for a very long time. And they're just background characters, Helen and Luann, but Miss Hoover occasionally gets one line via Martha Mitzman-Gaven. But then, they just brought Roswell back, and they obviously began to compensate for it by having Helen and Luann quite a lot.
Get their monies out, because I wonder how much she actually got when she came back, because, yes, those are some top draw characters that you've just lobbed off there, especially Helen Lovejoy.
It's not even top draw, but you've you've got rid of 4 of the most prominent women in town in one fell swoop, and there's only 8 prominent women.
Yeah,
it is why Edna, Patty, and Selma obviously fill the role, but I think it's why characters like Lindsay Naegle and Cookie Kwan came into it more prominently, because they were voiced by Tress MacNeille, so they just became Tress MacNeille became the Roswell basically. She does Bernice as well, and so there were just other women who took the lines that Helen and Luann probably would have had.
Still, it was a bad decision, and one which I fear they will overturn soon.
Yeah, maybe not. They're doing a 2-part Ned episode next season, and the only thing they've revealed about it so far is that Maude and Edna will not be in it.
Really?
But I think they're teasing us. I think it would have been funny to see Kirk just circling around on his own at this wedding, just rotating on his own like a chicken.
That would indeed have been funny, but instead we just got the somewhat humorous spinning. Once you start watching it a couple of times, it is very funny, actually, not intentionally so, but just to see all 5 people just basically rotating mechanically, ballerines, joylessly. Shall we move on from that episode into clip 4, a totally different episode?
Yes.
Good, and Lisa the Skeptic, the love of Jesus, comes riding back over the horizon just when we needed it the most. Lisa is at some kind of very shallow dig. Lisa brushes the dirt with her hands and finds a skull. Lisa gasps. Everyone come quick. Man, I love cartoons, I thought to myself. What a great idea cartoons are. Anyway, Martin Milhouse, Hoover, and the archaeologist, which I later realized was Skinner, I believe, are first on the scene. Ned and Maude are walking briskly from the side and are in maybe the 3rd wave. How interested are they in this? Does Maude believe in dinosaurs? Willie watches from a distance. Rod and Todd are nowhere to be seen. This I have sort of got to see, is what Maude, I imagine, is saying to herself.
Yeah, I think she'd be more invested. I think she knows at this point it's already not a dinosaur. So I think she doesn't know what Lisa's found yet, but I sort of have to see this is pretty much correct. I think if any of the other members of the Simpsons family had shouted that, she just wouldn't have bothered going over.
If it had been Marge, I think she would have, but had it been Homer or Bart, she would have dismissed it instantly and gone and done one.
Yeah, I'm just looking. They have a doctor in this episode, Stephen J. Gould.
Oh yeah,
and a paleontologist, historian of science, etc.
Yeah.
And
he's a real famous scientist, right?
This is another great season 9 thing. He's in that episode and he confirms that it is an angel to them at one point, and then to tie up stuff towards the end, Lisa says, but the only thing I can't explain is you proved it was an angel scientifically, and he just says, I'll be honest with you, Lisa, I lied. And just walks off.
Exactly.
So they got out of that one. But yeah, Maude, I don't know why she's already at this dig, because this dig is a Springfield Elementary dig, and it doesn't seem like there's a lot of other parents there with the kids at this point. There's a very small crowd of people at this point, and Maude's kids aren't there. This is one of those situations. Maybe she's a volunteer, but it doesn't seem. Why would she volunteer at the school?
In a dig, in a very, very shallow dig, nobody's ever dug more than 30 centimeters down before and uncovered an entire skeleton.
Exactly. But maybe there is a reason for that. There is a logical reason behind that thing that you just said, but I don't want to ruin the ending of the episode for you. But
I remember that the ending of the episode is, these are some episodes that I've definitely seen at some point, so they're getting a bit more patchy, but I've definitely seen this one all the way through before, and it's a good one. Does Maude believe in dinosaurs? We've talked about her being a creationist, or what she believes before. I can't remember what we said, but is she a creationist? Does she believe that dinosaurs exist?
Strangely, yeah, I think she does. I think she's got a bit of that magical childlike wonderment to her about certain things, because obviously she's letting a lot of stuff slide, believing the entirety of the Bible. So to me, it's always sort of baffling that the guy walking on water with holes in his hands who died last week is cool, but dinosaurs is just like an unlimited, or just an unfeasible option. So I think Maude would be like, well, but I do think that she would think, Jesus created the dinosaur. I imagine maybe she thinks Jesus had dinosaurs, not at the time, not in the Bible, but we can't prove that Jesus can't go back in time.
Well, obviously he can.
From the age of what? He's a baby. 50 and then he's like 35 in the Bible. Like, there's a lot of time unaccounted for. There's that bit when he shouts at all the people in that temple when he's like 12 or whatever. After that, he's unaccounted for. So where was
There's a lot of those Gnostic Gospels that I'm sure Maud's come across. That there's a lot of that Gnostic ones that Maud has come across because we know, because we've seen them on the bookshelf, right?
Ned has a lot of wacky Bibles, doesn't he?
And so those kind of things are in those Gnostic Bibles, that kind of like extra stuff that the Pope and his mates decided at some point weren't allowed. There's a whole bunch of other stuff out there.
So it was, I liked that very specific reference to Doom you just showed me on that Urban Dictionary. Entrance for Jesus riding a dinosaur. Well, we're making a Doom movie. Jesus rides by on a dinosaur.
Is that because Doom, the show is, the video game is very old?
I don't really, I just like that it's so specific to the movie Doom, which, yeah, I think they just talked about making a Doom movie for a very long time, and then by the time they made a Doom movie, it was like 2005, and it was The Rock, I believe.
It was The Rock, yes.
The Rock and that woman from Star Wars with the long hair, who we talked about.
Clip 5. Lisa stumbled back. Now the full body has been uncovered. Why they are letting Lisa do this is beyond me. Oh my goodness, she exclaims. Maud is nestled in behind Marge and Ned, wide open mouth, gasping, because we see that it is a full human skeleton that appears to have wings. What? So aliens exist, as we found out last week, and now angels. Wow. Maud thankfully hides her face to save us having to do the work of explaining what she looks like. What is it? Lisa says, Millhouse, it almost looks like a human skeleton, but these other bones look almost like wings. Ned says, you mean like an angel? And all we see is Maud's bulging eyes partially covered from behind his head. Her head is turning. Lisa scoffs. Well, obviously that's impossible. And Mo storms in shouting, Lisa's right, it's an angel. Maud is smiling because she has already accepted this as the truth. Ned is going now. Mo is panting. Oh, Mo. Now that's interesting, says Homer, dead off camera. How are they going to get out of this one, I ask. Although I mean...
The Homer's last line is great because it is. I think this has rocked Ned and Maud's world more than we see in this episode. I think they should have had a much bigger role in this episode than what they ended up with. And this is part one of, I think the next 2 of our episodes are about this episode.
Right.
So she's around. So we have a lot of stuff to deliberate on, but it's not very surface level when you think, I don't even, oh no, yeah, you do. I was going to say, I don't even think you see Lovejoy, but yeah, they certainly took a back role just to let Lisa have this sort of story of questioning whether, because it wouldn't be like Ned and Maud unquestionably think this is an angel, so there's not a lot of story there, to be honest, is there? Whereas
no,
Lisa
they'd have to be the ones that were just standing steadfast against Lisa's doubt, but I imagine that makes more sense if her family believe, because obviously you expect Lovejoy and the likes just to be like, yeah, this is absolute truth and this is proof now, and so now you all need to be Christian religious. Whereas I think it's only if the Simpsons themselves, who are they're not they're definitely church people and they have some beliefs, but they're not evangelical. They've got these kind of like mild beliefs that are more cultural than strongly held, I think.
The Simpson family represents, especially earlier on, just sort of the average American family where they kind of go to church instinctively, but the kids aren't into it. Homer's not into it. It's sort of for Marge, and Marge is very godly, but in the sense, Marge takes all the moral stuff that God teaches, and Ned and Maud just take all the face value. You know, I believe in this, but I can bend it to adjust to my judgmental lifestyle. Whereas Marge, I think Marge uses religion in the correct way. Out of the characters in Springfield, to be honest, Marge, Apu, Lenny, and Carl are the foremost, I'd say, like accurately spiritual people.
Yeah, because the Simpsons itself has this kind of like, it doesn't come down and say, that they're anti-religious, but it's all done with a little bit of skepticism, tongue-in-cheek. But then they will do episodes where it gets a bit schmaltzy, and they're like, yeah, really underneath, we're kind of like the Simpsons in our belief. If someone really came and pushed back and said it was nonsense, we'd have to stand up with it at some point. But until that time comes, we're kind of just going to like sleepwalk our way through it.
Yeah, but relatively, they can have characters be spiritual or connected to religion without them being the religious nutcase, or without even being like Lovejoy, how he isn't religious. He doesn't really believe any of the stuff. Like, he does on a face value, but he isn't moral, where I think Marge represents that very well. Maude does not. Maude represents the sort of bad side of religion, I would say, or like the intense side of religion, but not as much as Ned. But I think this is one of those things where she's seen there isn't a possibility that this could have been staged or this could be fake. This is just, there is an angel here. And I imagine it's upped Lisa in a book significantly, I bet.
For the time being, although Lisa is a doubter, and maybe Maude feels that some people are just beyond saving, even though proof is right there in front of her eyes. This Jehovah's Witness chap at my door once said like, what would it take for you to come and believe to our church? Would it take Jesus actually coming down and appearing right now in front of you? And I said, that would be a good start. I gave them the time of day once. They called back once a month for about 6 months, and very nice chaps, but I wasn't buying what they were selling. So that's the last clip for today. Anything else that you want to add before we move on?
No, we didn't talk about her actually physically in the clips a lot this week. We talked about, we went more existential or more mental this week, or like mentality. Physically, there are a couple of good, like the big eyes. Like, you can see how her world has basically just been rocked on screen, possibly more than we've ever seen. She's just been thrown completely for a loop. I think she had the capacity to believe in angels, but she probably didn't think that she was going to see Lisa Simpson dig one up on this day.
I mean, nobody thought that. But the thing is that once it happened in front of her eyes, what did it feel like to Maude? How did that change her world, her views?
I don't think it changed them at all. It confirmed what she wanted what she believes. I don't think she had any sort of doubts. One thing I will give her is that she doesn't have any religious insecurity. She is firmly, into what she's into. So I think this just like another notch on the crucifix, basically. You can add this to the list of proof. Again, she really enjoys being smug as well. So I imagine this was one of those situations where there was nothing but joy for her, which is nice. We spent a lot of time in season 8 seeing her miserable, sad, or shouting. And season 9, we've already just seen her, for the most part, she's been in joyful situations, or she's been having a nice time.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like, she had the wedding, and now she's just been shown the actual existence of God. Although don't forget that earlier God had spoken to them and saved their child from certain death. So assuming that we're taking that at face value, but we're not really. We kind of meta thought that one out of existence, didn't we? We bongoed that one, put it on the back burner. But this is full-on angel proof. Although, no spoilers, but things aren't all what they are cracked up to be. And I'm really interested to know about Maude's journey, this spiritual journey over the next couple of episodes. But for now, maybe that's all the content for this week.
Yes.
And listen, Nathan, shall we go and try and blow some of this money? Because I think, let me just check with Jeff. Jeff, you don't want any of this money back, do you?
Oh, yeah, I want it all back. When you leave, you need to give me every single damn red cent back.
Or whatever you've got. I also want any profit that you make.
Or whatever you got. I also want any profit that you make.
Oh, so you've given us this money, and should we make anything on it, we have to give you everything we make.
Yeah, of course, it's my effing money, you fool. Now get out of my sight. I'll see you in 3 weeks, no sooner.
So listen, while Jeff's gone off blowing his billions at this space casino, I think we should spend all of his cash, because he already owns the MFIDB and we haven't got anything. So if we blow all of his cash in memory of those monkeys, what he made we into bottles and then sent off to die in space. If we spend these small, insignificant amounts of cash to him, that in some way will make up for some of that brutality. Don't forget, there's still like another 120 working 16-hour days on Earth rebuilding all of the MFIMDBs that we seem to be okay with. But
we just took the saddest two and led them to their deaths. So they died unfulfilled and miserable.
Didn't 4 of them die?
2 monkeys, a dolphin, dolphin and a zebra.
Oh, I thought they were all monkeys.
I
Pretty good.
believe the dolphin and the zebra were dressed as monkeys to fit in, but all of them were sad, and then all of them died sad.
Well, hopefully we'll get to see how the other ones are doing. Maybe some of them are. Maybe some of them do enjoy those long hours at work. But anyway, listen, we're going to go over here. So, Erggun and Envelope.
Yeah.
Have you got your bags of cash?
No, I've spent it all. I needed to go to the toilet, and I have all of the cash, but the bag's dirty. So what are you going to do then? Should we go for a walk? Yeah. Look at him. Look at this. Who is it? It's a scary looking space Joe Pesci gangster. And the last they've got, look at her. She's giving me the save me eyes. What can we do, Erggun? I need the toilet.
All right. So those two have gone off. I don't know if they're going to have some kind of space adventure, but what we can do, Nath, is let's do a speculations if you're okay with that. I've got a question for you. We know very little about Springfield Township. We know that Maude grew up there. We know that the family still lives there. We know that in the spin-off series, they went back and she ran the water plant there at some point with the next door neighbor, Mr. John Hamm. And there has a farm in which she had a cow, which I believe was called Ermintrude, that she became friendly with. But we know very little else about Springfield Township. Can you tell me a little bit more about it?
I certainly can. I imagine it looks like a sort of Stephen King town. Like, is it Derry? The fake town where all of his stuff happens, and it's just quaint would be the word, but it's a town representation of Maude. It's quaint, but there's obviously an underlying curse or a darkness, partially thanks to Ginger. But no, there is an eerie side to it. The people who live there they feel connected to the eeriness, but it's the outsiders who come in who can sort of tell that it's maybe connected on a multiversal level to something else.
Like Twin Peaks.
Yeah, like a dark presence in the woods. People, yeah, almost exactly the same, but wildly different when it comes to settling things.
So like Lost.
Yeah, the branch woman. Speak to my branches; they won't tell any lies. But now I reckon it looks pretty generic. Now I think it's all been gentrified, and it's just whatever the Simpsons universe versions of like Starbucks. I know their apples. Their apple is just called Maple, so I imagine the Starbucks one isn't much cleverer than that.
Starbucks.
Yeah, Starchucks. So I imagine now it just looks a bit like the middle of Frankfurt. Frankfurt was really small, like just silver and grey and hollow, but nice when you leave the middle bit, and quaint and sort of. And also, let's throw in Coronation Street as well, in the sense that everybody knows everybody, and there's local places to go. There's a local, let's call it Bo's Tavern, and a small little diner where you go for your tea and your apple slice. So she grew up in Twin Peaks, and now she sort of lives in a generic city, like kind of like Futurama, but less modern. How's that?
That's all gold. That's all going in the book. And have we got time for a diary today?
Yes,
Excellent.
We certainly will. Bear with me.
Dear Diary, it's the morning, it's very early in the morning, and I have taken a walk to Springfield Park to clear my head. Last night, me and Neddy went to a Aerosmith gig at Blaming Mo's Tavern, Uncle Mo's family feedback, and Aerosmith were really good. I think Aerosmith might be my favourite band. Aerosmith is an American rock band formed in Boston in 1970. The group consists of Steven Tyler, lead vocals, Joe Perry, guitar, Tom Hamilton, bass, Joey Kramer, drums, and Brad Whitford guitar. My favourite is Tom Hamilton bass. Their style, which is rooted in blues-based hard rock, has also incorporated elements of pop rock, heavy metal, glam metal, and rhythm and blues, and has inspired many subsequent rock artists. They are sometimes referred to as the Bad Boys from Boston and America's greatest rock and roll band. After winning 2 Golden Globe Awards for her performances as Catherine Harris in the television film Recount and Amy Jellicoe in the comedy drama series Enlightened, Dern garnered her 2nd Academy Award nomination for her work in the biopic Wild. In 2017, she began starring as Renata Klein in the drama series Big Little Lies, winning a Primetime Emmy Award and a Golden Globe Award, and reunited with David Lynch for Twin Peaks: The Return. She has since played supporting roles in the films Star Wars: The Last Jedi, Marriage Story, and Little Women. Her performance in Marriage Story won her an Academy Award and a Golden Globe. I also like Laura Dern. Bye.
Well, that was nothing if not informative. Thanks, Maud, for filling in two of your likes. Now, we knew that she liked Aerosmith. And here's a weird thing. So yesterday, we decided that we hadn't eaten kakigori for a while, which is the Japanese shaved ice. Delicious, to go fancy, to go all out over here. So we looked up the most famous kakigori place in Osaka that had, interestingly enough, just been on the telly the day before. And we went there, me and the young one, and we sat. And on the wall in front of us was a picture of a karate gi signed by Steve Tyler for Aerosmith, with him with his arm round the boss of the Shaved Ice Palace.
Nice.
That was yesterday.
Can you confirm that it was Steve Tyler and not just like a leather mannequin that had been left out in the sun 45 years?
I can neither confirm or deny that.
Or Jennifer Aniston from the future.
You think that's what... Look at that, though. That's a pretty good kakigori, right?
That is very good. I thought it would be in a cup.
Oh, no, they're huge, these ones.
Nice.
That one is red bean, and the condensed milk and kinako. Very tasty. Anyway, the thing we don't... Oh, I don't know. She would want it to be unflavoured ice, shaved ice, basically. So refreshing.
With a tub of ice cream snuck into the middle.
Only if no one's looking.
Yes.
Listen, shall we wrap this up with a song? I wonder if Erggun and Envelope are off on their little trip. I wonder if they would want to sing the song today.
Just the two of them.
Just the two of them. I think they should share a far amount more screen time than they have previously.
I'm sure they would both love that to happen. Where's Statman John, by the way? Did he go back to Earth? He did.
Yeah, he went back. They all went back, other than it's just that us two and Erggun and Envelope, who for some reason John Poop said had to stay because he suggested that there was some kind of prophecy, quite why John Poop would be able to tell the future, but apparently he can. He said that what he told me is that when he calls them monster pops, and they're suppositories that he creates himself, made from Monster energy drinks. So what he does is he kind of boils down the Monster energy drink to it's like a syrup, like it's a really thick syrup, and then he dips like a big wad of cotton wool, like cotton balls, and then he shoves it up his jacks and he calls them monster shots. And he says when he's done about 6 of them, you can see the future.
It sounds right for the guy we're dealing with.
But thankfully he's back on Earth now. Hopefully they got back safe. But anyway, have you got them on the phone? Can I speak to them? Beep, 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 beep. Hello, Envelope.
Yeah.
I'd like you to sing the end. It's Brendan. I'd like you to sing the end theme tune for the show today, if that's okay.
Who's Brendan?
The one off the ship.
Your
next door neighbour.
Strictly Come Dancing.
Exactly. Can you and your mate Erggun, can you sing this song?
He's not my mate.
Right. See you.
Stinks. Who's going first? You. A blink and you'll mort stitch Apu and Manjula. A band with table sat and those horns singing close to you in Hindi. Ned and Maude dancing. We see beautiful Manjulan and Indian man Apu dancing. 'Tis a beautiful day. The Respirian is unfolding and Homer is being shaken upside down by an elephant. Some kind of very shallow dig. Layers brushed the dirt with her hands and Fints her skull. What a freaking great idea. Martin Milhouse, Subaru and the archaeologist. Does Maud believe in dinosaurs? Lisa's right, it's an angel. The end. Thanks, guys. Thanks for that.
Sure, that was very good. I just heard it over the phone. So well done, everyone. Bye. So what's that, episode 47 in the bag?
Yeah.
Nice. Good one. It was a good one, wasn't it?
Certainly was.
Good one.
Almost contentless.
Did the band tell you to say that?